Hello, we're going to make a video, and this video will demonstrate integrating Putty and VcXsvr software and then connecting to a computer on the ECE HPC Teaching Lab Linux platform. This configuration will allow one to get graphics back from a Linux workstation to their Microsoft device. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to make sure, if you're working from home, you want to make sure that you're connected with the Cisco AnyConnect VPN software, because the HPC Linux computer for the electrical and computer engineering department are behind the Lehigh firewall, so you need to use VPN to access them. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to get an X server running on our machine, and we're going to do that by in a previous video you were able to see how to install the VcXsvr software, and it puts a little icon on your desktop here called X Launch. So what we're going to do is we're going to click that little icon to get started, and one of the things we want to do is make sure when we open this up that multiple windows, the radio button for multiple windows is selected, and for display number that value should be -1 or -1. Okay, then we're going to click next, and the next thing we want to do is make sure the radio button is clicked for Start No Client. We'll go ahead and click next, and we can just leave the defaults here for extra settings. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and hit finish. Okay, then what you want to do is make sure that this little X appears down here in the right hand corner. It's very likely that the X may actually appear in this services box. So if you click on that little tilde up arrow thing, you may find it in the services box if you don't see it immediately appear down here on the right hand side. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to open the Putty software, and so I'll click on the Start window. I don't have any Putty icons on the desktop, so I'm going to click the Start window and come up here to All Apps, and then I'm going to scroll down to the P's and click on Putty, and then I'm going to start the Putty software. So I'll click that to start the Putty software. Okay, super. Okay, now the first thing we need to make sure that we have set up is we need to come down here to Connections, and after we click on Connections, we want to click on a little plus sign here next to SSH. Come down here and click on X11, and we need to make sure that this checkbox that says Enable X11 Forwarding is clicked. Okay, and then once we can do that, we can go ahead and come back up to the top and click on Session, and this is where we actually put in the information to connect to the machine. So let me see if I can get a web browser here. So the machines that you can access are HPC 01 through here we go. So there is a website that will list the machines called teachinglabs.ece.lehigh.edu. Now when you go into the website, if you click here on HPC Linux platform and then go to About, and then if you come down, you'll see the machines that are currently up and running on the ECE Linux HPC platform. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and close the browser here. So we're going to choose HPC 02.ece.lehigh.edu. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click open. So it's going to come up, this is my first time going into this machine, and it's coming up and saying that there currently is no key saved. It saves the public half of an encryption key in order to encrypt the communications back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and click accept. And now it gives me the opportunity to log in. So I'm going to log in with an ID called ECE demo. Now you would log in with the ID that you were sent, and that ID invariably will be the same thing as your Lehigh user ID. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and click enter. Now it's going to ask for a password, and so I'll type in my password. So I reset the password before I did this demo so you could see what it looks like if you have a new user ID or a reset password. What it'll do is it will ask you to change your password. So I typed my password in that I had, and then now it's asking me to retype that password. Okay, now I can type in the new password. Okay. So now I have my password typed in. Okay, now let's test and make sure that we can get some graphics back. First thing we're going to run is we'll run a program called gedit. This is like the equivalent of Notepad on Microsoft operating systems. So, and I'll put a little ampersand in the back. That allows me to get the $sign back so I can run another command. If I don't put that $sign, or if I don't put that ampersand at the end of the command, I can't get the $sign prompt back until I finish running the graphics program. So I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now I'm working from home, so this may take a second or two for the graphics to actually get back to the machine. And we'll kind of watch here. Okay, and here comes the graphics. And interestingly, it sometimes puts the graphics behind the command prompt window. And you can also see that the graphics came up down here. Sometimes you'll see the little graphics icon come here and the graphics might be totally behind the command prompt window. But if you click on the little icon down here, it'll bring the graphics up forward. Okay, now we want to go back to the command prompt window, and let's see if we can run one more program. We're going to run a program called GNOME-system-monitor. Again, I put the little ampersand there at the back. And so we'll run that and give that a second to come back to us. Okay, and once you get the graphics back, it usually, the response time is usually pretty good. For example, if I click on processes, it'll go to processes pretty quickly. File system, it's just getting that initial screen back sometimes can take a little bit. Okay. One thing to consider is actually exiting out of the processes after you've started them. Now you can just click this little X up here in the right hand corner, and that will close the GUI. And we'll click the little X here on the gedit. Okay, and then after it comes back, sometimes after the graphics comes back, you don't get your $ back right away. And if you hold down Control-C, that'll drop you back to your $. So sometimes you have to hit Control-C to release the graphics. And then in order to exit from the terminal session and close the bash shell session that you're in, type exit, and that takes you back to your, that closes everything up. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and thanks for listening.